And joining us right now, the Roth North, the previous guest line, one of my favorite people on the planet to talk to, especially when it comes to all things birds, football, and just all-around great guy himself, Mr. John Barchard, Bell on the Birdman podcast. What's going on there, John?
Oh, my gosh. Everything. Jalen Hurts is Michael Jordan. You might be the sexiest man alive. And, yes, this hat is corduroy. What's going on, buddy?
I was going to ask you. You know me far too well. That is such a beautiful cap you have on there. Corduroy making a comeback. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. I was said on the podcast, I keep feeling it, and I feel weird just keep feeling my head all the time. But
no, I feel good.
I don't think we feel weird about the birds. You feeling weird about the birds?
I feel weird in that I am so I'm you know what I am, John? I'm smitten. I am in deep smit when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. I love this team. I've loved their focus all season long. I thought they had a legit chance to go undefeated. I mean, I was just all swept up in it. And Jalen Hurts, I can't believe it. Like, I thought he would play like the MVP candidate that he was during the regular season. I thought he'd play like that against the Giants, and wow, he really didn't leave anything in the locker room. He left it all out there on the field in that game.
Yeah, it's just I just thought it was funny, all this impending doom that started happening after, Gardner Minshew had a flopper against the Saints and probably should have beat Dallas. And you're going like, is this team even good anymore? And I was just sitting there laughing with my feet kicked up. I'm like, they got to win 1 out of 3. The Giants are playing nobody, and just everybody relax. You're going to be in the NFC Championship game, and that's what it felt like at the beginning of December to me, and now we're here. Like, thank God we're here because I can't wait to, I just close my eyes and I go, Hassan Reddick chasing after Brock Purdy. And it's going to be so, going from, drinking twilight time to darkness at the end of this game, and I just see us all hanging out on Broad Street, don't you?
Absolutely. We're going to be cheersing. We're going to be toasted just a couple of months after we did that for the Phillies making it to the World Series. How about that?
Someone's going to finish the job here.
Someone's going to finish the job. Someone's going to finish the job.
I do blame the Phillies for sucking all the life out of the lead up to the playoffs, though. I mean, really poor job by everybody.
Just, you know what? Stop being so selfish, Phillies. What the hell, man?
Yes. Yeah, Doc, Embiid scoring 40, yawn. Everybody's like, wow, we need to wake up. So I'm thinking, thank God for the Eagles, as always. Yeah,
but most definitely. Now, you open with it, so I want to focus on it for a second here. The Michael Jordan thing. We'll get to me being the sexiest man alive. I mean, you said it, I didn't. But
the Delco Times.
The Delco Times.
If that exists. There you go.
It was me. It was the guy with the real I don't know. I don't want to go there because I'm going to end up insulting anyway, so all right, so Nick Sirianni is doing his post-game press conference on Saturday night, and he starts with Iverson, which is already, by Philadelphia State, pretty top shelf. And he's like, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts is? Jalen Hurts is like having Iverson. He's like having AI out there. Was he a shooting guard or a point guard? Shooting guard? Okay. Who's your point guard? Mo Cheeks. He's like, Mo Cheeks? He's like, Mo Cheeks. And we're all like, yeah. We're like, Allen Iverson. We're like, yeah, Mo Cheeks. And then a couple of questions later, Sal Powell goes in there. What's it like having him? And he's like, it's like Michael Jordan. And I feel like at that point, we're like, all right, whoa, hey, buddy. Why don't you chill for a second? But I mean, I think when it comes to highly emotional people, and we know Nick Sirianni watches the press conference, we listen to him coach, all that stuff. I feel like we expect that kind of thing from emotional people, and it doesn't carry as much of the same stank on it or emphasis because we know he's a top shelf type of guy.
Yeah, it's well, first of all, he's Kobe. Right? I mean, he is not going to quit, and he's going to tell everybody, we haven't won a thing yet.
Okay.
That's basically what his speech was. And didn't you feel that? I don't know if you saw, the victory speech in the locker room afterwards, too. It was just
yeah,
we have a lot. We still haven't played our best ball. It's just wow.
Still ahead of us. Yeah, our best game's still ahead of us. Him and Brandon Graham said in the message, yeah.
Yeah, if Peyton Manning and Michael Jordan had a baby, boom, there's Jalen Hurts. I think, that's – he's good friends with the Manning family. He seems like he is a film nut just like him, and he sticks out his tongue like Michael Jordan. So I'm on board. Whatever you want to do, as long as it's MVP, as long as it's franchise quarterback, as long as you're apologizing for all your bad Russell Wilson takes, as long as you're sitting here saying, you know what, this guy can go win a Super Bowl now. I don't care what you call him, as long as you call him a eventual Super Bowl champion in about, I don't know, 3.5 weeks or whatever it is. I know Joe Burrow's pretty. I know he's extraordinarily good at playing quarterback. I know that Patrick Mahomes has the hardware to prove it, but I just can't get my head around, like, it's just – I don't think anybody can beat this team right now, and he's a big reason why.
Would Joe Burrow be Monco times? Would he be Monco? Would he be that? Would he?
No, I think he'd be Philadelphia Magazine. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think he'd be. But hey, for everybody that's interested in that, I mean, one of the sexiest lineups of all time. If it's Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts right next to one another, my goodness.
That's what I need to hear the announcers talk about. By the way, these quarterbacks, they are sexy, are they not? What are we talking about? You can put on a.
We're talking about sexy Michael Jordan, 60-yard throwing, feet stomping, gonna kick your ass all over the grass. Jalen Hurts. There we go. Yeah.
So let me just ask you this then. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, and he hears that comment, because that comment has made its way to his ears, the Michael Jordan thing. Do you think he's like, hell yeah, coach, thanks, or is he like, coach, dude, all right, I love you, thank you. But let's just chill on that for just a second. Do you think he's more of that type of ilk, or do you think he's more of like, hell yeah, coach?
I'm going to try, for the first time on your show, a Jalen Hurts impression. Is that okay? I'm gonna try. Okay, here we go. That's funny. Coach has a funny way of putting things, but I'm just me. I'm just Jalen. I'm just me. Wow. So if coach thinks I'm Michael Jordan, that's fine. But my players trust in me. I know what I can do, and I don't put limitations on myself. I think that's what Jalen Hurts would say.
That's really okay. So you mixed in a lot more of that, like Texas, and like everyone from Texas had sex with Charles Barkley, which might not be that far off.
So I was aiming for the double 20 on the dartboard, and I just missed. I just went over the top of it. Okay, all right.
No, I loved it. I loved every second of it. Remember? All right. Speaking, let's keep the conversation going about love, because that's what we're all about, right? That's what we're all about.
Of course.
Jonathan Gannon. What will it take? Because his words at the time we taped this, his words yesterday in his press conference about how this is an electric environment. When he came here after the Minneapolis Miracle, he thought that was the loudest and craziest a bunch of fans could be. But then he came to the link and he's like, oh my God, this is incredible. He's talking about players coming up to him saying how Philadelphia's just nuts when it comes to the atmosphere. Like, is it as simple as, okay, he leads the league in sacks, has an all-time record set for a franchise that had Reggie White, by the way, when it comes to sacks in the season here. He coaches this defense extremely well, top 10 last 2 years in terms of yards and points, which is great. Now this year up to the sacks, like I said. What will it take for Jonathan Gannon to be looked upon, other than winning a Super Bowl, as a beloved figure in Philadelphia? Because those words, I thought might catch some people's attention at least.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. I'm going to let you and whoever's listening and watching kind of determine which way they want to go with this information. Is the Texans tanking pretty much outright for Jonathan Gannon a good thing or a bad thing? Because I'm still on the line of, and I don't know if you heard this today, but at the time we were recording this, Albert Breer had already floated out that the Eagles would be aggressively pursuing Vic Fangio, who during the middle of this year were like, oh no, Vic, oh no, he's in California. He doesn't consult with us. So if you would allow me, I would like to place a tinfoil hat on top of your head and possibly mine.
I thought I was going to get a Vic Fangio impression for a second.
I think Howie Roseman is trying to shadow ban Jonathan Gannon and maybe Shane Steichen, because if you think back to 2017, they were clearly trying to find a job for Jim Schwartz, right? And you couldn't really get him out of there. And then you found out later that Doug Peterson was like really holding on to his offensive coaches, and clearly they wanted somebody like Joe Brady or like somebody with different ideas working with Doug, and they're like, okay, Doug's got to go. So I just feel like when we all, and this is hard to remember too. I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember John DeFilippo? You remember that whole thing?
Yeah. The quarterback's coach. The offensive coordinator with the Vikings, I believe he went to.
Yep. After that, and then I think he's in the USFL as a head coach right now. I don't know where he ended up, but we all believed during the time that he was actually the brains behind Doug for a long time. And Frank Reich's name never came up. It was like hush, hush. You know who really I believe is the offensive and defensive brains right now? Jeff Stoutland, Nick Sirianni on the offensive side of the ball, and I really believe that Vic Fangio has been developing their defense underground for a very long time, because why would you aggressively need him as a defensive coordinator? And secondly, keep your eyes on the name Marcus Brady, because Marcus Brady was hired right at the time, and he was the offensive coordinator for the Colts last year. He was hired literally at the time we're going, what's going on with the passing game offense, and why does it stink? And Shane Steichen's currently in charge of that, and when he got hired, it suddenly got better. So I believe that Gannon and Shane Steichen are guys that they want to get out of here and internally bring in Brian Johnson, who's the quarterback coach, or an offensive guru, and just replace the defense with veteran talent like Vic Fangio, who you can just go ahead, because historically, I don't think Howie Roseman's cared about defense at all or being on that side of the ball. They're all strictly like an offensive deal, and like, here's Jim Schwartz, and you have all the power and stuff like that. So a long answer would be, I don't think ever, because Howie Roseman's basically telling him he doesn't want him here either.
So no, but along those same lines, which I find interesting, is that for as great a season as the Eagles defense had, and I mean, the sack total is what jumps out at everybody, of course, as an Eagles fan. It seems, in terms of the coordinator, wildly not only replaceable, but you can make the upgrade with Vic Fangio being here, not just an underground consultant, but the guy that's literally labeled the defensive coordinator of this team.
Yeah, I'm way on board for Vic being here next year, and I would say, like, yeah, I mean, this is kind of the part where it goes, it's who's touched Sean McVay, and this is kind of like, well, who's touched Vic Fangio and who's kind of been. I mean, it's his defense. He's the architect of this whole thing, and they've been talking to him. So I don't think we'll ever go, Jonathan Gannon's amazing. He's, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just because he's not aggressive enough, and it's just not how football is played now, but like, I don't know. To me, he kept this team in a lot of games where he allowed Jalen Hurts to bail out, stuff early on. So I think he's done a phenomenal job. I think he's a lot like Sean McDermott, and we'll see. I don't think he's going to be a great head coach. I just think he's a really good defensive coordinator.
I think you and I are on the same lines there, my friend. When it comes to this matchup with the San Francisco 49ers, let's just go down this progression real quick.
Sure.
Chris, just in terms of this game, not in terms of building a team for next year or anything like that. Does the order go in terms of talent on this team? Does it go Christian McCaffrey, Jalen Hurts? Does it go Jalen Hurts, Christian McCaffrey? What do we look at as far as talent on this game? Who will be the most talented player on the field come Sunday afternoon?
Whew, man. I mean, too many talented players, I think, for the Eagles. But, I mean, like, Fred Warner's kind of his own world, and he scares the hell out of me. If you want me to be I don't think they've had and that's where I think is also very manipulative of where you can get into San Francisco's like scope and really, really chasing after their DBs. It just depends on how aggressive they want to be against Jalen Hurts. But I think, man, I don't think there's one player that outshines anybody on the Eagles like talent-wise. I think they go toe for toe on each side of the line. I think we just praised Jonathan Gannon, didn't we? Oh my goodness! I would switch for Mufasa in a heartbeat. I think he's the real defensive genius that isn't getting talked about right now. So here's the thing, like the coaching, the experience, all scares the crap out of me. And it should for you, too, for the exact reasons I'm, kind of hyping down the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. But, I can't imagine Brock Purdy winning. I can't. I can't imagine Kyle Shanahan not being a total wuss and punting from the Eagles' 35, or, settling for field goals. And analytically, these teams are just so different from one another. The Eagles lead the league in fourth downs, 70%. 70% to San Francisco's probably at the near bottom of the list. But I don't know if you know this thing. You know the thing that goes around during football games called the surrender index, which basically tells you how big of a wuss you are. They are top. They are one of the most conservative teams of all time, and that's because of the running system. And you mentioned McCaffrey, and if your plan is to run against the Eagles – good luck catching up. I want to feel threatened, but I haven't, and I haven't for a month, to be honest.
John, the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, aren't they?
They are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I feel it's weird. Like I thought they'd beat the Giants. I don't know what your expectation was in that game, but I thought it would be a close game in terms of backdoor cover. I didn't think the Eagles would just blow them out of the water. You know what I'm saying? But boy, did they do that. I am much more confident against the San Francisco 49ers team than I was against the New York Giants. I think the Eagles are going to dominate this game.
What is wrong with everybody?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's because I just feel like, and trust me, as a person that has had to watch way too much Iowa State football, I can tell you that Brock Purdy.
That's right, I forgot.
It's just not that good. You know, like he has thrown multiple, and even so, we're killing Dak Prescott, rightfully so. But I mean, man, that could have been the other way around very quickly. 3 or 4 hospital balls that were near Diggs or whatever it was. I can't believe the Cowboys didn't come down with the interceptions. That's why they stink. But you can't do that against this team. You can't do that against C.J. Gardner. Are you kidding me? Like, you cannot. I'll even throw in Reed Blankenship at this point. He's been playing so good. Marcus Epps and the 2 best corners in the league. I think the secondary is actually like what really makes me kind of say yes Super Bowl, because I don't see that matching up at all. That's one of the worst matchups I think in for both teams here.
It's been the X factor really throughout, because when you think about the teams that they faced this year, especially let's just look ahead now to the San Francisco 49ers, you look at the other side of the ball and you see Nick Bosa. Okay, you see 1-2 in sacks when it comes to Hassan Reddick and Nick Bosa, and you go, okay, wow, that's I think you get after the quarterback. But then you think about Brock Purdy throwing into the secondary, and you're thinking, yeah, good luck, son. And this is not going to be your day. This is not going to be your day. And I know the famous phrase, and I've used this before as well, the clock's got to strike midnight at some point. I think that defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles, and then add Bradbury, add Darius Slay. You mentioned Blankenship. You mentioned C.D. Deuce. Throw into that secondary. Good luck, son. Good luck.
Yeah, I can't think of one game plan that involves him throwing under 20 passes, 25. I mean, you're really going to have to pull something. So that's the only thing that concerns me is just probably the first half of maybe being too cute and trying to figure each other out. You don't want to get into that battle with Kyle Shanahan, because I think smart football guys do this all the time. He's notorious with doing it with Sean McVay. It's one of the reasons why I believe Doug Peterson will always beat these guys, is just because they don't exploit the weakness. They just stay in their system. And if you can just exploit Brock Purdy never beating you, I think that's all you have to do.
Yeah, but what about that Iowa State game in 2019 where he took on the Oklahoma Sooners and that guy Jalen Hurts, and it was a battle to the end that the Sooners ended up winning. But you got thoughts on that game? They came back, they rallied in that one. That Brock Purdy fella did.
Yeah, sure did. And if we were still at Oklahoma and Iowa State, and we were Oklahoma fans, and that was Iowa State, we'd probably be relevant. But I mean. It's not like Brock Purdy isn't a good quarterback. He is. I would be silly to diminish what he's done based on all the conversations we've heard here in Philadelphia. I respect all the things he's done. He's not as good as Jalen Hurts. He might have been equal to Jalen Hurts in 2019, I guess, but a lot of time has passed since then. So
let me ask you this. Speaking of those Iowa people, okay, just for a second, all right? Yeah. Now you have the Nick Sirianni character. He's from like Ohio, right? He's like from Middle America, right? Ohio. Some of them consider themselves East Coast. Most do not.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Ohio's Midwest. Don't everybody tell you otherwise. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I'll have to have this fight with my in-laws. So when it comes to the Pizza Hut and the Little Caesars, is this what I mean? Is this what those people are just accustomed to because they're not used to the fine pizza pies and the fine cuisine that we provide here in the Northeast corridor of the United States? What the hell's going on there?
There's only one pizza place in the Midwest, and it's called Chicago. Anything outside of Chicago is going to be that. It's some version of that. Like. So here's I'll just run through all of them because it's just pockets of chains. So if you're in Indiana, you know what you're getting. It is Papa John's, unfortunately, and still to this day, Papa John's, because that's where it was created and it just flooded the market, and that's what they think pizza is out there. Now, I'm sure in Ohio, that's a huge Pizza Hut town, or it used to be back in the day. If you float into Illinois, it's more mom and pop shops because, again, Chicago exists and at least gets a message out to the people that there's other things than chains. And then you get to Iowa, and then you get to Wisconsin and Michigan, and it's just straight up like there's things called like Godfather's, Happy Joe's. There's all these Midwestern chains that are like that, but it's not good pizza. I mean, when you crave taco pizza, I know you're from the Midwest because that's the delicatessen out there. And I don't care what you're consuming during a film session when you're clearly yelling at your coaches because you're going through self-scouting that week, I think he said. I'd be like, yeah, you guys deserve Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza because this shit was wrong. Keep eating and get it right. So in that context, go for it. But if you're choosing Pizza Hut over like La Rosa or something, we've got issues. But other than that, yeah.
I love the idea of Nick Sirianni being like almost like a Gordon Ramsay, like yelling at his coordinators, being like, "You will eat this stuffed crust pizza. How dare you come up with that play call suggestion?" You know, that kind of thing. Your position group was trash. Apologize to the stuffed crust pizza.
This is your lunch. Oh, red group gets to go with me, and that's a terrible Gordon Ramsay.
No, it's just spot on. Wait, are you doing Jalen Hurts again? I'm sorry, what?
Oh, yeah. Is Frank Caliendo on the phone right now?
Oh, this is amazing. Yeah. This is great. For the people on the podcast, this is actually Frank Caliendo. He started by doing a John Barchard impression and then broke off. Oh, my God.
What's the worst chained thing that you would admit to right now to eating and liking?
Well, I've admitted this to my audience. I will say this. I think, like, whether it's college or whatever, we all have the chain food at some point. And I love every once in a blue moon, I guess my guilty pleasure would be the thin crust pepperoni pizza from Domino's. Because I think it's just because they make the pepperoni so damn crispy. And you could get the extra pepperoni so you don't even see the cheese. And plus I can eat the whole thing and be like, it's thin crust. It was like one slice, whatever. But that would probably be my go-to guilty pleasure from the chains. How about you?
First of all, yeah, it's actually the deep dish from Domino's that I think is or their pan style pizza is
yeah.
With the pretty good.
Yeah, the burnt cheese on the end. We're a couple of fat bastards. Jesus.
Oh my God, yes, yeah. It's either that or just like the famine craving after, you know this, 12 hours of just working the day, undoing wires, God knows what else. Give me 2 quarter-pounder cheeseburgers from McDonald's, and I'll eat them in front of you. No problem.
Oh, yeah. Damn. Oh, that is – yeah, I mean,
it's disgusting, and I crave it, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. And me too. And now, like, Lil Toots is 3 years old now, so she now is old enough to ask for chicken nuggets. Like, she wants chicken nuggets. And then I'm like, well, damn, if we're going by, it's rude not to get a quarter-pounder. Yes, 2C with bacon and a Dr. Pepper. Damn it. Like, I don't want to be rude.
Yes,
they went through all that work. It's large, damn it. Oh, my God.
So I hat tip to Nick Sirianni for, just – I didn't even know there was a Pizza Hut in Philadelphia near NovaCare. Did they order on – Aramingo is the only Pizza Hut that I'm aware of. So –
oh my God!
I don't even know if they deliver anymore. I think all Pizza Huts are pickup. Did they have an intern go pick up Pizza Hut?
I want to know. I want to know the offensive quality control coach that has it on Grubhub and had it delivered to the NovaCare complex. That's what I want to know.
It was probably Dom, their security guard.
Right, probably was.
Pizza Hut. I got you, Coach.
He want to turn it down. They know me. They know me there. John, last thing for you. It's the time we tape this. It's Tuesday. So what is your way too early prediction for this weekend's matchup, Championship Sunday, Eagles 49ers?
I think there's a safety, and I'm going to say the Eagles get it. So let's go 32-16 Birds.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Next time I see you better bring that corduroy hat.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, trust me. I've felt great about this season. I actually remembered being on here last December and saying Jalen Hurts would go lead this team to a Super Bowl right before. I didn't know A.J. Brown was getting traded this year, but here we are. We're going to see it in frickin' 4 or 5 days, everybody, and it's going to be amazing.
Here we are. John Bart, what do you guys have coming up on Bell and the Birdmen podcast?
So we just actually fresh episode just dropped as we were recording this. So fantastic news for you.
Oh, am I on? Am I on?
Yeah, come on. And we are going to be live streaming right at 3:00 as we always do for home games, except there's a lot on the line here. So we're actually going to be at my co-host's apartment, Vince Quinn, along with Taylor Credatis, so we can run to Broad Street and hopefully do a post-game show with you on Broad Street. Whoever wants to come and join in, and just let's go crazy. So Farzy, if you're feeling itchy, come to Broad Street with us. We'll have some fun.
Sounds like a plan, my friend. Sounds like a plan. John Barchard, always great catching up with you, and Frank Caliendo as well. John, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one, pal.
You as well. The great John Barchard from Bell and the Birdman podcast joining us right here on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line.